Ladies and gentlemen, we are the Three-Headed Hydra with James, Josh. My name is Sal, and today we are talking about Wim Hof. James, want to take it away?
Yeah, so I'm doing that sound because that's the sound that he makes often when he's just about to start a breathing exercise. He likes to get into the flow of things. So as a general overview of the Wim Hof Method, for those who don't know, it's composed of three main aspects. Number one is breathing exercise. Number two is cold exposure. So you can do this through ice baths or jumping in lakes and rivers or cold showers even if you live in a city like we do, Sal. And the third aspect is focus and general concentration. But I think if you're going to do the breathing and the cold therapy, then you need tons of focus to be able to get through them and make the most of them.
Okay, so for everybody who doesn't know anything about Wim Hof, including myself, that's how well prepared I am for today. So what are we talking about? This guy from the Netherlands, and he started a movement, or he started... what was this whole thing about?
Den, I got this from you. This is another of my favourite things in life that got...
Wim Hof. I've heard of Wim Hof a lot. I've heard of Wim Hof a lot. He just seems to pop up everywhere on podcasts and everything. I think I'd seen him on Russell Brand's, and I hadn't watched him, but he's just a popular guy. And then I think actually it rolled on one day. I was listening to something on YouTube, and then it rolled on to Wim Hof on the Joe Rogan podcast. And man, the guy, how he talks and everything, you can hear he's the life in him. He's the way he talks, and I was just sold within the first 10 minutes. He's got Joe Rogan doing his breathing exercise, and he's just so excited about it. He says, "Man, you're doing great, man!" And he kind of bounces all over the place, and he's really, he just seems like a really free guy, and you can't help but admire that about him. And he's an old guy as well. He's kind of gone 60 now, isn't he?
He's just turned 60. Yeah.
Sounds like the Tony Robbins of breathing exercises.
But he's very sort of pure and natural. Like he's like a kid in there. You have to see this, Sal. Like Joe Rogan bought him a beer, and he's looking at them. Oh, let's have a beer. Oh, great! Yeah, I love beer. He's just super energetic about everything, and in the end, that's really infectious.
Right.
And it's funny because the first time you see him, you think, oh, well, this guy's he's a bit wacky. He's a bit crazy. He's obviously an eccentric kind of guy. If we take society standards as something to go by, he's extremely eccentric. He's very different, of course, in his approach and his attitude to life. But what he's done is taken all of his methods, so especially the breathing and the cold therapy, and turned himself over to science. So they've done tons of tests at various cities, and the results are incredible because he's not just a sort of a cult figure which is based on a placebo effect. He's all of his stuff is. Can you hear them chomping?
Yeah.
I thought you said you couldn't hear it.
I can now. I'm just getting on my soapbox.
No, now that I hear it,
carry on.
I cannot hear it anymore.
So it's the last olive.
All of
good.
He's a working man.
Yeah.
So yeah, all of his stuff is backed up by science. So you can have both sides, right? Sometimes you have to choose between a spiritual side of things and a scientific side of things. But Wim Hof combines both of them, which is a beautiful thing for me personally. Just to give you a few examples, his breathing technique, and I recommend everybody to try this at least once. I do it every morning on the sofa as soon as I wake up. His breathing technique has many benefits. So it lowers your heart rate, which lowers your cortisol level, the chemical cortisol, which lowers your stress. And then what you do in this breathing technique is oxygenate your blood. So the tests have shown about a 25% increase in the oxygenation of the blood. And of course, what does the oxygen do in your blood supply? It brings the oxygen to the muscles, and the muscles use oxygen to make energy. So you're more energized with this breathing method. It also makes the blood more alkaline because it's more oxygenated, and the lower your pH level, and we're talking between like 7.7. If it lowers to 7.4, there's a great benefit in pain relief with this. And then it's also been shown to improve your immune system, your endocrine system, your lymphatic system, your vascular system. There are fewer inflammatory proteins in the blood. And until recently, sort of the medical community the scientific community didn't believe that we can self-regulate our immune system. But with the Wim Hof tests, they're starting to rethink this. So it's fascinating, yeah.
James, how long have you been doing Wim Hof breathing exercises?
When did you send me that video? Since the day after.
2 months?
Yeah,
maybe 8 weeks.
Months. It was actually one of the greatest things about the coronavirus quarantine for me was having more time to look into these types of things and incorporate them into my daily routines. So yeah,
James. Oh, son, go on,
yeah. So do these exercises give you energy? Like, do you feel any benefits when you do this in the morning, or so would you recommend it as something that activates you, or is it also something you can do before you go to bed, or would it be like a coffee right before you go to bed? So with potential downsides.
Well, so the breathing. If we take just the breathing,
I just wonder about the timing.
Sure.
When to apply.
I mean, some people do it in the evening, some people do it in the morning, because the breathing actually lowers your heart rate, which lowers the cortisol. Okay, so it's less stress and less sort of activation, but then you have more energy available in the bloodstream anyway, because there's more oxygen in the bloodstream. So it's available, but it doesn't exactly kick you off. What really kicks me off in the morning is to do my training and then hop in the cold shower for a couple of minutes. And that's another aspect of the Wim Hof method. Okay. Because the cold, that's what really boosts you, because cortisol, it's like any chemical, any hormone, that you need a healthy balance of it. And what happens a lot of the time is people have too much cortisol, and that causes stress. But you need a certain amount of cortisol in order to be activated, right? And ready. That's what you have in your fight or flight system. You're super alert and you're ready. What's he eating now?
Sounds like nuts.
I was deep in thought, actually. I'm not eating anything.
So the cold therapy, further reduces inflammatory proteins, and it actually increases the cortisol to a healthy level, so you feel super active. And you should see me at about 9:30, 10 after I've hopped out of the cold shower after the breathing method and some training. Breathing method, training, cold shower. I'm ready to roll.
Do you
also, Sal? Sorry, just to finish the list. It also boosts your metabolism, and it helps your blood vessels narrow because of the cold, and so the tiny muscles that make up your vascular system get a good workout as well. And also, the last but not least, the brown fat. So Wim Hof is one of the only beings that has been able to create more brown fat as you age, because usually you as you age, and brown fat is what we need to release energy directly to the cells, because normally we have white fat which just stores the energy. So all of this is well documented, but it's incredible to have these experiences and have these sensations, and then you look at the research that's been done, you think, wow, it's all backed up by completely unbiased scientists.
And so does he recommend just jumping under a cold shower, or is it like a mix between hot and cold water? So what do? You just turn up the cold water and cold, that's it? Because some people, including Joe Rogan, they like this mix between a sauna, so between the hot environment and the cold. Or also Tony Robbins, for example, one of his famous routines in the morning is that he jumps into this kind of little pool of super cold water. So that's supposed to boost your immune system, to boost your everything. So just cold water, that's it.
Just cold. Yeah, I mean, it would be better to have the colder. I know, Dan, you were talking about getting a industrial ice machine and maybe a barrel, because that would be ideal. How's that going?
Right.
I'm super serious.
Oh, mate, I haven't been practicing the Wim Hof method at all. These are my confessions. You always send me your times in the morning. of holding your breath, but I stopped doing it ages ago. I actually got a bad throat, and during the corona paranoia from breathing in and out really heavily, I kind of my throat felt a bit kind of I don't know how to describe it, but I could tell I've been doing the breathing exercises, and I had to stop doing it, and I haven't really got back on it since. So maybe I didn't feel the benefits enough for it to factor it in my life. But
I'll stop telling you then, because the breathing. I thought you were doing it as well, mate.
You text me a time. I say, well done, mate.
The breathing method. You need to try this out, man. But the breathing thing, you do sort of deep breaths, and then it ends with. Can
you actually show our viewers how the exercise goes? We can do it together, maybe.
Yeah, all right. We can do one round. I think there's 30 breaths.
All together.
Here, listen, just before, I have one question, yeah? So, because Wim Hof, he goes in the ice water, doesn't he? And he can swim underneath. When he's cold, do you think he wears a jumper when he's cold? Does he only do it for the breathing exercises, or does he love staying in the cold? Does he only do it as an exercise, or does he just love being cold?
I don't know.
You know what I mean? I wonder if there's any pictures of him with a jumper on.
There's a man with no coat.
Yeah.
Well, Sal, yeah. Well, I think what we could do is just as a very, very, very shabby test, just breathe out as much as you can, and then and then just breathe in when you feel that you really need to. Okay. Just raw, and then we'll do the Wim Hof method. Okay, the time starts now. So while Brother Sal is holding his breath, let me tell you a story about Wim. Among other things, an environmentalist. He's big into trees and nature, and he's got some great videos online about fasting, for example, which is something that we'll talk about.
I just tapped out there. I did it at the same time.
Okay. So what was that, 30 seconds? 40 seconds?
For me.
Okay, so let's do a round. So Wim Hof does this fantastically. I don't know, Sal, is it possible to share the video? No, because it's another YouTube video, so maybe not.
If you click the link,
maybe. I think we cannot show it now, but I'll check out if you can maybe.
All right. Let me do my best Wim Hof Let me do my best Wim Hof impression then. Ready? So we'll just do one round. There's normally 3 rounds. We're just going to do one for the interest of time.
If you're going to talk like Wim Hof, we need to warn not to laugh during these.
Of course, I'm going to talk like Wim.
You're doing great, man.
You're doing fantastic. All right, are you ready?
Ready.
Hi, guys. This is the guided breathing method. Sit down, lie down, whatever it takes. Just relax. Okay, get into that rhythm.
What
breathe in. Oh,
okay. Sorry, man, did I break it? You breathe in and you breathe out less than you breathe in, don't you?
I haven't really worked that out. I just breathe in strong and breathe out strong.
It was important to note that was a worthy interruption, though.
Yeah, it was.
You breathe right in, you breathe in as much as you can, and you breathe out, but not all the way, and then you breathe in, right?
Right, because you have to I suppose that's right, because you have to oxygenate your blood, right?
So you get that sound. So you don't breathe. You breathe in hard, and then when you breathe out, you don't go all the way out, and then you breathe in hard again. So it's more breathing in hard, and you breathe out a little bit.
So I hyperventilate.
Well, if you put it like that, Sal, then no one's going to do it.
Okay, let's go.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Let's get into that rhythm. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Make it circular. Breathe in. Breathe out. Like a wave. Breathe in. Breathe out. Tense space. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe out.
Oh, God.
Breathe in. Breathe out. In with the relaxation. Out with the stress. Breathe in. Breathe out. 5 more. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. 3 to go. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. And on your last exhale, breathe out and hold. Breath hold from now on. Ding! So don't do anything, just hold your breath. You should have emptied your lungs by now. So as I was saying, ladies and gentlemen, Wim Hof has a number of other interests. Environmentalist, looking to educate children and young people in this method. In the Wim Hof breathing, he actually talks to you during this, so I'll continue. Keep going, guys. You're doing fantastic. Let the body do what the body is capable of doing.
Is it normal that I'm feeling dizzy?
Sal, it's part of the experience.
Ah.
So that you breathe then, Sal?
Maybe.
I laughed a little bit then as well when I was breathing.
So anyway, it's worth trying sort of on your own. Not with friends.
To be fair, Wim does comfort you with the dizziness during that. So he does these guided breathing things on YouTube. They're like a 10-minute video, and he does three sort of sets of it. What would you call them, sets? Yeah.
I think he calls them, yeah.
Yeah. So
it does work.
That didn't go too smooth, but
the idea is that you're able to hold your breath for much longer than is normal because you've oxygenated your blood, and it's a very interesting process once you get used to it. Because I'm up to now in a breath hold, I'm up to 4 minutes and 10 seconds, and I realized that the trick is it's not actually a hold, because a hold suggests that there's some sort of resistance, some sort of stress, right? There's some sort of desperation, where it's not a breath hold at all. It's just a process of letting things be, because when you're not stressed about breathing, you don't need to, and when you need to, Wim Hof says, please breathe. What does he say? Breathe in when you feel the urge to breathe. It's not about suffocating yourself. But once you let go of that stress of, oh my goodness, I can't breathe. No, I can breathe when I want. Then of course the physiology starts working in your favor, and time goes very quickly. Especially, it's a kind of meditation, because when you're focused on what you're doing and you start listening to your heartbeat and really focusing on your body and feeling all of the parts of your body, then I find anyway that I can maintain without breathing for a much longer time. Yes, mate, I'd really recommend it. It's
James, did you mention the virus? The story where he fought off the virus. They gave him a virus and he fought it off immediately.
Yeah, that's. I could go into a little bit of detail on that. So this is when I said it helps your immune system, and they did an experiment where he was injected with E. coli. So for an average person, that would have made them sick within hours. All right, not fatally sick, but pretty sick within hours. And through his breathing method, he was able to. He explains it very well in his video, but he was able to basically fight this thing off, and he didn't show any signs of illness from this E. coli. And this isn't some hocus pocus anecdote. This is from, I think this experiment was at the University of Maastricht, and of course all the scientists there were shocked. But he's not a magician either. His because the next reaction is, oh, he's just a freak. But he teaches other people, and they have the same results as he does.
But could it be that through his continuous exercises, because it makes it sound like he just arrived there and he got this kind of virus, and then he started doing his exercises and he raised his immune system and he fought it off. But could it just be that he has generally just a very good immune system? So whether he would have been doing these breathing exercises or not, he would have fought it off. Because otherwise it sounds like,
Yeah, but I
created something purposefully for that occasion.
Sure. I mean, I think the answer to that is that in the experiments they've taken 10 or 20 normal people, untrained people, done tests before, and then had a training group and a non-training group. So training group with the Wim Hof Method has shown great benefits, great resilience to the E. coli, other tests that they put them through.
Right.
Physiological tests, and the non-training group has. So it's not that Wim Hof's a freak. He's not a freak of nature in this sense. He's just he seems to have stumbled upon something, and actually he's keen to share it, which is a beautiful thing.
All right. Well, it's interesting. I'm definitely going to check it out
After
after this.
It's definitely worth checking out.
We should also say that you need to be safe, no, Dan, because we won't mention, but don't you know somebody who tried it behind the wheel of a vehicle? We won't mention names.
Yeah, I told.
Sounds like a bad idea.
Going to die. Hang on, this is better than. So the guy, my friend, he's a lorry driver, and I told him about the Wim Hof Method. He kept telling me about this thing called earthing, where you stand barefoot, and he's into this kind of thing. You stand barefoot on the ground, and your electrons. The electrons in your body react with the earth. So anyway, I thought this kind of thing would be up his street, Wim Hof. So I send him the Wim Hof stuff, and a week later he rings me up. He said, "Oh, I'm so glad you told me about Wim Hof," and he just rang me up to thank me, and said, "Oh, I've really been getting into this stuff, and I've been doing the breathing methods." He said, he said, "Oh, I get bored driving the lorry." He said, and so I started doing the breathing exercises behind the wheel, and he said, "Mate, I went all dizzy when I was doing it while he was driving the lorry." And it cracked me up, which is very dangerous, but
slightly
kind of funny.
Nobody was harmed.
Nah,
so, yeah,
absolutely.
You got to be sensible with it. That's it. That's it for the Wim Hof Method then. So just go and check it out.
I'll tell you what, Sal. What's the clock saying?
27.
22 minutes
22
of recording, yeah.
Oh, okay. We'll leave it there. I was just going to say about David Blaine off the back of that. Did you ever watch it?
No. That's another day then. You can't 10-second David Blaine. Sure.
I don't want to carry on, but yeah. Did you watch it, James?
No.
Well, how do you know you can't 10-second it?
Because David Blaine is a complex character. You're talking about the ice challenge.
No. But anyway, let's tap out now.
Next time.
All right.
All right, guys.
All right, guys. Thank you very much to all our listeners and viewers at home. Thank you very much for joining us here in this round of the Three-Headed Hydra. Josh. James. Very nice. Bye-bye. Peace out.
Peace.
Why are we making these podcasts? Because 3 heads are better than 1. We'll combine our experiences and research on engaging topics to learn a bit more each time, enjoy the chat, and improve our own communication skills in the process. Innovation comes from the ability to correlate information between different realms of knowledge, and we all have very different realms of knowledge between the 3 of us.
Why the Hydra, you ask? In archetypal mythology, dragons guard piles of gold. Overcoming fears can bring great rewards. What you most need is often where you least want to look, and we won't shy away from the fire to challenge each other and reach that goal.
What's in it for you, listener? Learn, laugh, and love. Get involved and join us on this adventure.